Hi, Scheels team. I'm Christie Vanover from Girls Can Grill, and today we're representing Team Hey Girl Hey. I'm going to show you how to make the baby back ribs for the Porktacular contest. These are baby back ribs. You can tell that they're different from St. Louis style ribs because the bones have an arch to them. They are actually from just a different part of the rib cage. One of the first things you want to do when prepping these is to remove this silver skin, because that prevents it from being bite through when you take a bite of the meat. If you're lucky, there'll be a little bit of piece here that you can grab onto. Use a paper towel. That will help give it a little bit more grip. Sometimes it pulls off super easily in one big swoop, and sometimes you have to do it in kind of segments like that. Just get that paper towel in there to grip it. I like to kind of work my fingers under it and kind of go one direction. Then usually you could pull the rest off going the opposite direction. There you go. Now you'll also notice that one end of the ribs is kind of mangled. Usually the other end is a little bit more tight, but we are going to take our knife, since this is for competition, and we're just going to trim anything that looks kind of odd, especially this whole side. I'm going to actually, let's feel for the bones. There's one bone here. There is one bone here. Let's just start first by cutting off the first bone. You want to put your knife between the two bones, because obviously you're not going to be able to cut the bone. And that looks better. A little bit kind of mangled up here. We'll get the knife there. Now, if you were just going to cook these in your backyard, this is perfect. You could throw it on the grill. However, we are going to be doing competition turn-in boxes. So because of that, there's this extra flab of meat right here that makes these bones uneven. And if you were to put these in the turn-in box, they're just not going to look very great for appearance because they have this extra flap hanging over this edge. So you'll just take your knife. I like to put it upside down so I can see the bones. And you're just going to trim that away. Now, if you're at home, you can save this, grind this up, save that for some recipe in the future. All right, these look pretty good. We're going to go ahead and get them seasoned up. I like to start with the bone side up, and we are going to start with Hey Girl Hey Sweet Rub. Some people put a binder on their ribs to make the rub stick. I find that I don't really need that, so I don't use it. But if you want to do that, adding a little bit of mustard is a great option. Now I'm sprinkling on a heavy dose of my Girls Can Grill pork rub. We are going to let this sit for 15 minutes. You're going to start to see it glisten, and that's when you know you can flip it over. If you flip it over right now, all the rub that you just put on there is going to fall off. So let it glisten, let it kind of soak in, and then we'll be right back. Can you see that glisten on these ribs? That's what we're looking for. This is just about ready to flip over. Okay, let's flip these over and season the other side. Again, we'll be starting with the Hey Girl Hey Sweet Rub. Also be sure to hit the sides. Follow that with the Girls Can Grill pork rub. Again, you're covering it so you can barely see the meat. We'll let the rub rest on this side, and we'll go set the grill to 275 degrees. The grill is ready at 275, so we're going to add these to the smoker. We're going to lay the ribs on the tom rack. Okay, these ribs have been on for 2 hours. And so the temperature is around 170. We're going to go ahead and take these off and wrap them up. Okay, now it's time to wrap the ribs. I'm going to take a stick of butter and cut it in half vertically and place it on foil. I've got 2 sheets of foil here. This is what we're going to use to wrap the ribs up. We're going to place the ribs right on top of the butter with the bone side down. We're going to take maple syrup. I like using pure maple syrup instead of the other kind that's more like corn syrup. Just a drizzle right on top. Some more of the Hey Girl Hey Sweet Rub, Girls Can Grill pork rub. We're just kind of amplifying the flavors throughout the layers. Now we're going to add peach nectar. The reason we're going with peach is because we're going to finish this with the Hey Girl Hey peach barbecue sauce. So I don't want this to spill all over, so I'm going to kind of create a boat by just folding up the edges. There we go. That'll keep it from falling out of the counter. I shook this up before I opened it just to get the nectar nice and mixed up. And I'm going to do about 1/3 to 1/2 cup per rack of ribs. So 1 can will do 2 to 3 racks. And then we're going to close this tight. You'll notice I didn't pour it right on top because I don't want to break my bark. I want that bark that we've created to stay on there. I just want to help kind of steam and braise these ribs. Okay, now we will fold this up carefully. You want to kind of keep your boat edges going. Pull it to the center and then roll it over. And then take these sides and press them on top. We can take this back out to the grill. You added the ribs back to the grill. We're going to come back and check on them in about 30 minutes. All right, let's check on these ribs. Be careful when you open it, as there's liquid inside. You can see that the bones have started to pull away. They have a nice bend and bounce to them. That is what we're looking for. I'm going to go ahead and kind of create that boat again. We're going to add some sauce on top. This is the Hey Girl Hey Whiskey Peach. Just going to drizzle it on top. Fresh it on. You can even get some of that liquid from the side to kind of thin it out just a little bit. You want to let it continue cooking just to set the sauce. And in case you're curious right now, oh yeah, the temperature is 205. The sauce is set. Now we're going to take these off the smoker so we can slice into it. Now that the ribs are off the grill, we're going to go ahead and slice them. You want them to be bone side up. That way you can actually see the bones and you can see where you're going to do the slicing. I like to hit the back with just a little bit more pork rub, brush the backside with a little bit of sauce, because think about it, when the judge goes to take a bite, this is the side they're going to bite first, so you want that underside where their tongue is going to be really flavorful. Now use a long serrated knife and go ahead and slice between each bone. Try to make your cuts as even as possible in the center so that you have a nice centered piece of meat for them to bite on both sides. The serrated knife really helps you kind of get through that bark. If it got crunchy at all on top, it should cut right through that. Now these pieces over here are thicker. So like this piece is not going to match this piece when you put it in a box. So save these for your people's choice or for you to enjoy. And save your center 6 for the judges. Same thing with this end. This end is kind of the butt end. This is the end I like to use as my taster. So I'll taste this one to see if this rack tastes better than rack number 2. Whichever rack is better, that's the one going to the judges. Let's give it a taste. Really nice. That whiskey peach flavor just gives it something that's really unexpected, a little bit sweet, a little fruity. And you can see how clean of a bite that is. That's what the judges want. They don't want all the meat to fall off the bone. They want a nice clean bite. So to prep these for turning, you're going to get your 6 best bones. Go ahead and turn them all over. And again, these are getting a little thick on this side, so these are not going to be our turn-in bones. Although they still look beautiful, they're going to taste great. Now I'm going to lay them on the sides. I've got them laid on the sides. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix a little bit of this jus with the sauce and just gently brush the sides of them. This is going to add more flavor. It's going to keep it nice and moist. Just kind of let them shine, and then go ahead and do the other side. Just a nice, thin, even coat. Do a little sauce. Do a little jus. The other thing that's great about the jus that you're using is that the jus is still nice and hot, so that's going to help create a hot bite. Now you can just kind of stack up your 6 slices side by side. Again, make sure you have 6. That's what the judges need. This is our 7th one. We don't need it, so we'll save that one for later. You've got your 6 slices right here. They should fit in the box just like this. You can actually use a knife to get up under them, to lift them and transfer them right onto the greens. If for some reason the 6 don't fit, just take one of them and kind of stack it in front like that. You can even stack it nice and pretty so that they can see the side of the meat. So it's going to give them a really beautiful presentation. Thank you guys so much for following along. I know you guys are going to crush it. Good luck at Porktacular. I can't wait to hear the results.